Go.
Hi, I'm Bat from Rocketman Motor Tech Cairns. We're back again and we're talking about Tune ECU, this time with the Gen 2 Rocket 3. Last video we did the Gen 1. We went through how to go through it using the cable setup and the Android tablet. This time we're going to be using USB and the Android tablet. As they say, the Gen 1 may be the most beautiful bike in the world. I tend to agree, but I think the Gen 2 is the most exhilarating bike. Certainly anything that I've ever been near. This is the world's largest production motorcycle engine, one of the most powerful bikes on the market, and certainly the most highest torque rated bike available in 2026, and probably likely to be ever. So we'll go through what we need to get into these. These are a little bit more advanced than a Gen 1. If we come over here, I've got with me Kerry, my beautiful wife and fellow Rocket Nation member. She's doing the video today. As we did on the Gen 1, we're just going to use an Android tablet. Can use an Android phone. I prefer to use the tablets just so the display is bigger. We can see what we're doing a lot easier. It's just easier to work with, but you can use a phone and you can use a tablet. You cannot use a PC with Gen 2, and you cannot use Apple with Gen 2. So it's all Android and it's all done with OBD. This is the OBD link made by OBD Solutions from America, probably made in China. We buy this either off Amazon or eBay. It's important that you try to get this OBD Link LX brand. And you can tell them they're the green ones, they look like that. They work. The cheaper ones won't work with them. I forget what we paid for this, but it was around $100 odd, I think. Okay. So, like the Gen 1, we need to get access to our OBD link. We'll take our seat off.
On the dog bed.
Back onto the dog's bed. Now, on a Gen 2, our OBD link, that's a GPS tracker there, so ignore that. Our OBD link is on this little bracket there. There it is there. We're simply going to connect our USB or USB OBD LX link to it there. At the moment, it's receiving power from the bike, but it's not connected to the ECU. We'll just sit it there so we can see it change. All right, to connect, we'll do it in order. First thing, let's bring up ECU on our tablet. Now I do have this this tablet connected to the internet at the moment, just so that my account comes up with Tune ECU, because I've got maps and everything stored with my account and all this other shit. But you don't necessarily need to be connected to the internet to get access to the ECU. Okay, so let's go Tune ECU. Okay, at the moment, this thing doesn't know where it is. It still thinks it's back over on the original bike. So, Rocket 3 Gen 2 uses fob key system. We're going to make sure our key goes to green. Turn our bike on there to stage 1. Bike onto stage 2, so we've got ignition. And back onto our tablet here, ECU, connect, connecting to Triumph, green in the corner there. If we look down there, we've also got a green there.
What's the red?
I don't know.
Might be just
Okay. So, once again, we can go through all of our live readings, whatever we've got, same as we did on the last video with the Gen 1. If you like, I'll start the bike and we'll show you that it'll record the readings and everything in real time. It is loud. We're running a work system, exhaust system on this bike. This bike's been fairly heavily modified, both intake, exhaust. It's about as far as we can go with a naturally aspirated bike. This went over the dyno and put over 200 horsepower across the rollers. I won't say exactly what it did because in 2026 in Australia, the Gestapo will probably come and arrest me for having an illegal weapon or who would know what. But yeah, no, this bike's got some front in it for sure. We're currently on map, I think 11 on refreshing, getting this bike tuned. When you look on the YouTube, you'll see a lot of videos that'll tell you how to de-restrict a Gen 2 rocket using Tune ECU, and they are very good. They'll guide you through how to de-restrict table ETV3, which is the sports mode, which is the mode that we've de-restricted on this bike. However, they are only de-restricting a generic code across the entire map. What we've done here on this bike is we've actually customized the de-restrictions on the tables to correspond with each gear, first, second, third, and then fourth, fifth, sixth. They're same gear, but so basically there's 4 different customizations. Now the reason that we've done that is that what we found is that when we went with the initial restrictions, as nearly 90% of the people use, the bike it comes alive for sure. There's no doubt about that. And I mean, the bike in its standard setup, I think in Australia, they're sold at 65% output, and that's in sports mode. I think in road mode, they're about 61. But at 65% output, the bike certainly gets up and goes, but at 100% output, it's pretty insane. That being said, when we do restrict according to what these YouTube channels show you, it's not consistently 100% across every gear and every rev ratio. Now, if you wanted to make a comments there below, I'm happy to get back to you on the email and share our mapping with you. And what we've done is we've got a sister bike to this one as well, a friend of mine, Billy Erk. It took us about 3 months of fooling around with it. We've eventually come up with a system where we've got a bike that we can ride in traffic in our first, second, third gears, pull up to the lights. It's not too savage. Once we get up around our 2000 red mark, around that sort of thing, the bike just comes alive and it's just a monster, which is what we want. Most of the time I operate this bike in road mode when I'm riding in traffic anyway. And we only are changing the sports mode for the process of remapping the bike. We can change rain mode and we can change road mode, but there's no real point. You're better off leaving your rain and your road as factory settings, so it's sitting there. The rider mode, which is the 4th mode, is customized through the controls, which I think we will do another video of, because that's a bit more complicated as well. There's some good videos on YouTube on how to calibrate through the the control section here. We won't get into that today, but that's how we do our rider modes. So anyway, let's have a look at what's happening here. Okay, so we'll go to sensors list. We've got a list of our sensors there, ECU, tests and adjustments. So at the moment, we might test our devices, and it's very similar to the Gen 1, that's a tacho test. Everything will come up all right on this bike, I'm sure. Test next will be the radiator fans. This will kick the fans in. There they go. Okay, so we'll exit the test there. So we've got the ability to test all of our systems there. Down the bottom on the adjustments, we've got reset engine hang on, give me a second with that. Reset engine adaptations. That's what we're going to do when we do a remap. We've got our throttle position sensor adjustments, our ABS system, which is what we use when we need to bleed this system. We've got an integrated braking system here where we get a partial application of the rear brakes with the front brakes in certain circumstances. It requires a setup through the Tune ECU to do that bleeding. Reset the service interval. Now, this allows us to do our own services on the bikes. It gets us away from the dealerships, gets us away from the 20-year-old kid that doesn't know what he's doing the oil changes on the bikes, stripping your drain plugs out, fucking your bike up, all the rest of it. We can do all of this ourselves now, and then we can reset our service lights, we can reset our service intervals, and it just frees us away from spending our $500 at the dealers to simply go and do an oil change. So it's worth buying the ECU, Tune ECU, just for that alone. It's got a tyre pressure management system here, which this bike is not equipped with presently. It's equipped with external ones, but not with the original OEM ones. And we've got reset our gear positions, our neutrals, and reset our shift sensors and adjustments. So there's a lot of adjustments here on Gen 2 that don't exist on Gen 1. If you do have a Gen 2 Rocket 3, I think you'd be crazy not to set yourself up with Tune ECU to help you maintain your bike and keep it running. Okay. So we've been through all that. Basically, we've been through the mapping situation there. We get live outputs there for our revs. Maps. So we'll have a look at the map that we've got currently here. We're going to go back here. I'm in Rocket 3 Gen 1 at the moment. I'm going to go back to Triumph to Rocket 3 Gen 2. You can tell the Rocket Gen 1's a numeral 3 and Gen 2's a numeric 3. So if we go into Rocket 3, we can look at our maps that we've got in there. We can see the current map that we've currently worked on. This is the one Billy and myself worked on for quite some time to get into this bike, which I think is probably the perfect road map for this bike. Is this one here. This is all of our throttle positions there, same as Gen 1, all the same information until we come up to our ETV tables. Which is our first one here. Okay. Because this bike has different rider modes that can held in the ETV tables. ETV 1 is your rain mode. And you can see, if you look in here, how limited the outputs are. and that's to keep this bike from going crazy in the wet. So let me just see what our absolute maximum output is on with rain mode. Okay, the maximum that we can get out of a Gen 2 in rain mode is 44.5% output. ETV2, which is our road mode, and I wasn't too far off the mark, is 61%. We can check our gears throughout that table. So this is second gear, still lifted at 62%. Third gear, 61%. And then fourth, fifth and sixth, 61%. So that's what they limit road mode at. Sports mode, as it's sold in Australia, is at 65%, which is, as I said, it's a fairly solid bike to ride at 65% output. Don't worry about that. But if you're like myself and half your hobby is playing with the bikes and getting the most out of the bikes, which is what I like to do, that's just not enough. We want them to go as hard as they can go, and that's what we've basically achieved here. So I'll get Kerry to come in here. We'll come back. We're looking at third and fourth gear. We're on ETV3, which is our sports mode. We're in our fourth and fifth gears there. We'll go back to first. This is our first gear. Now this is where we have variated from what they're showing you to do on the YouTube to restrict it. We've made the bottom of this revs, this being our revs on the left, we've made these percentages of throttles a little bit more smoother until we get up to this 2000 sort of mark in first and second gear, just to give us a little bit more smoothness with the bike at the traffic lights, at the roundabouts, just when we're puttering around, trying to stall around. We found that when we had it revved right up, down in first and second, the bike was just too twitchy to ride. It was too much on the road. So this particular map that we've got going here now, where we have done the gears, and you see we've variated second gear as well, which will be a variation from what you'll see on the Tune ECU de-restriction on the YouTube. As I said, if you want to email me or put a comment there, I'm happy to share this map with you. Once we get into third, we've brought this map, the bike comes alive, and comes alive big time. You can see that basically what we've done is whatever we're twisting this throttle to here, wherever we position this throttle, that's what these butterflies are going to be open to. And that's what this map is doing. So at 100%, it's putting out 100%. When that throttle's at 91%, it's putting out 100%. And it's working its way all the way down that rev range, all the way. So whatever we're doing, we're getting. Basically, the bike is putting out 100% of what we're asking it to do. Now, we've also shoving a lot more, because we've increased the exhaust on this, we've got a lot more flow going through this. We've changed our fuel ratios, our air fuel ratios, because the bike got a little bit lean. You probably heard it barking there before. When I gave it a rev, you will see flames and all that come out of the back of it. Not so much now that we've put a bit more fuel into the fueling on it, but it's still a very hot bike. So that's why I recommend, if you're going to go with this map that we're doing there, you use the variation that we've done where we've just topped up a bit of air fuel ratios there just to rich the bike up a bit, keep our temperatures down, and make the bike just more usable, more maintainable, and less likely to fail from overheating. So really, and we can see this is our air fuel ratios here. I won't get into where we've changed them there. I'll do that. But basically that's where we're at with the Tune ECU through the USB link. It's pretty easy to do. As I said, you would be bad not to use Tune ECU if you did buy a Gen 2. We won't do a reprogram or a remap today because we're actually going to remap this Gen 1 in the next week or two. We're putting a ram air induction into it. The process for the reflash is the same between the two bikes. So we'll go through a reflash of this one, and that'll be the same as if we were going to do
What are
the
you
Gen 2.
doing?
What's he done?
Nothing. I just think he's into the computer again.
He didn't piss on the tyre, did he?
No.
Fucking thing.
No, he hasn't.
So we'll come back to that and we'll do the remap on the next video. Once again, if there's any questions you've got hooking it up, it really is quite a simple system.
So anybody can comment and you can give them an answer to help them set themselves up?
If you have any trouble getting your bike connected via the USB, just put a note in the comments. I will get back to you, and I'll try to work with you and help you with
Mapping.
with getting it all sorted out. As I said, the main things that I noticed and the mistakes that I made in the beginning was not buying the right ABD link. I bought a cheap one to start off with, which just simply didn't work. This is the one that you want, the ABD link LX. The cheap Chinese ones off the eBays just don't seem to work. They don't connect to the computers and all the rest of it. The secret to the link working with the bike is that the ignition has to be on. The bike will not communicate to the Tune ECU without full ignition being on. If I turn that off now, I've lost connection to the ECU. All right.
Okay.
Hope that helps everyone. Sorry about the quality of the video. I'm not exactly a professional YouTuber as yet, or am ever likely to be. As I say, if you need any hands with any advice on how to hook them up, comment below. I'm more than happy to give you a hand. We've been frigging around with these things now for about 10 months and we're on map number 12 or 13 or something, so we're pretty much all over the
They can help you. You can help them with the mufflers things that you're doing with them as well.
Yes, well, okay, that's an interesting. These are competition works. Now, if someone was considering putting new exhausts on their bike, I can't speak high enough of these. A lot of people rightfully say they look ugly. When they first came here, I thought they did. They've grown on me. I actually quite like the look of them now, but they sound great and they flow great, and they put 10 horsepower into that bike straight away.
Are you going to do the same on this one?
This one is getting a Dave Platt system from the UK. Now, Dave Platt wasn't making systems for Gen 2s when this bike arrived. I believe he is now. So you've got Competition Works, which come from America. Dave Platt's from Nottington in England. There is a Vance and Hines setup that you can get for the Gen 1s, and there's a Vandermon that I think is made in Australia that will go up to a Rocket 3 as well. If you're going to put aftermarket exhausts onto a Gen 2, and if you've got a GT with saddlebags, if you're using Vandermons, bear in mind that they angle up. They're probably going to set fire to your saddlebags. So keep that in mind. The work system is the way to go. That being said, my friend Billy has bought a second original exhaust system, which is going down to a company called Meerkat in Mackay, I believe they are, and they're fairly well known for modifying the Gen 2 exhaust. Basically, he takes an original exhaust, so you get to keep the original look of your exhaust. He rips it open with a plasma cutter, bores it out takes all the cats out of them with a hole saw, whatever he does, then he re-welds them up. Costs you about $580, I believe. I've had fairly good reports from them. I don't think that you're going to get the same sound out of them that you're going to get out of a works system. When we do get that second bike back from Billy's, we will put them side by side and do a video for you so you can hear the difference between them and we might actually shoot a video of Billy's before it goes and gets modified so you can see all three. But yeah, the competition works is, in my opinion, is the way to go on them. I'll start her up, you can have another listen to it, and then we'll say goodbye. If you put that camera down there, I don't know whether there's too much light, you might see flames come out of this. As you can see, it's got plenty of herbs in it, and that has been riched up a bit. Before we frigged around with our air fuel ratios, flames were coming 6 inches out the back of it. It was too lean, it was crackling and popping on deceleration too much.
Trees caught fire, didn't they, Scott?
Well, trees caught fire, children would cry, dogs would start to bark and howl. So anyway, get back to me if you want to put the work system on it. I'm happy to put you in touch with how we do that. Be aware that there is a 6 to 8 week wait for them to arrive. On the Gen 1s, on the Dave Platts, he's pretty good. He can get them out to you in about 3 weeks. As I said, I think he may be doing exhaust for Gen 2s now, but I'm not 100% sure.
You
Anyway,
can put them all in touch with everybody though, hey, if they make a comment.
Anybody's got any comments that they want, or if they got any questions, just write down below and I'll get back to you, and I can put you in touch with all these people. I've been through it all. I've got both bikes, so I've been through all the ordeal with them all. Just whilst we are talking about exhausts, when you're on the eBay, particularly with the Gen 1s, and you see the Chinese system for $300-400 or anything like that, don't fuck around with it. Don't worry about it. You're better off. Exhausts are extremely important. It's very important that we get these engines to flow right and everything like this. Better off to leave the original exhausts on, throw a few bucks aside every pay until you can afford to buy the good gear. I really believe in this, same as I believe in oil changes at 5,000 kilometres. It's the cheapest insurance you can put on the bikes, and I think putting the cheap Chinese exhaust systems on them is just a recipe for us to end up blowing up engines and all the rest of it. So you're better off to stick to the name brands and to go with what we know works. And at the moment, for a Gen 2, we know that competition works. Vandermon, maybe Dave Platt are the 3 big names that come to mind there. And for a Gen 1, Dave Platt exhausts, Vance and Hines, and I think there's another one which escapes my mind at the moment, but you can see it on the YouTube there. All right, folks, thanks for that.
Same bat channel?
Yeah, same bat channel, same bat time. We'll do a remap. Actually, probably what our next video will be is we're going to rip the intake out of that Gen 1. We're going to put ram air system into it. Depending on whether Dave gets the exhaust to us in time, we'll put the exhaust up to it as well. I don't really want to remap the bike until I've got the exhaust and the intake on at the same time. I want to do the map as the final stage of that upgrade. But we'll go through doing a intake swap out on that. There's a bit in that we've got to pull tanks off and all sorts of shit. And there is one good video I've seen of a fella doing it on YouTube, certainly worth having a look at, but it's on a roadster. On the touring, we've got our tank gauges and everything are on the tank, so it's a little bit different for lifting the tank up. I'm going to go through that and show you how to do all that. And yeah, that's the next video. So
like, save, comment.
Comment if you need to know anything, if you want to be put in touch with anything, if you need to confirm what brand of gear you need to get, or if you just want
General knowledge.
General knowledge, if you want me to share a map with you, or if you want to show me your map that you put together and see what you think, I'm happy to have a look. As I say, I'm not real good at what do you call this shit? What am I? Am I a content creator? I'm not real good at
Rocket Man is for
I'm
us.
not real good at YouTubing, but I have spent a fair bit of time fooling around with the ECUs on these bikes, so I'm more than happy to help.
Computer geek?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a computer geek. No.
IT man?
No, I wouldn't say I'm an IT man.
Just a rocket man?
I'd say I'm
Yes, do tell.
recovering alcoholic
Oh.
with many years of mechanical. I'm a Cummins apprentice by trade. I've been playing with engines for 30 years, and it's one of the few things I know my way around them. So give us a comment, and we'll see if we can help you out. Thanks again for watching. I hope that helps.
Hooroo! Bye.
Have a good day. See ya.